quiet.
Howdy, ma'am. Allow me to extend the warmest of welcomes on behalf of the town of Rosewater and its inhabitants. Folks call me Jem, and who do I have the honor of greeting?
Harley Leger.
Delighted to make your acquaintance. Might I assist you with your luggage? That is, if you've got any.
I don't.
Ah, right. Well, what brings you to our fair town, Mrs. Leger?
Miss, and I'm here about a job.
Planning on sticking around, huh? Say, what line of work are you in?
If you must know, well, I write. There's an opening at the Rosewater Post.
Well, best of luck with that. The editor at that place ain't somebody you want to cross.
Then we ought to get along fine.
I'm sure you will. But as official town greeter, allow me to offer a small caution. Rosewater ain't always such a sleepy little town.
Hey!
Say, I've just remembered another engagement.
This how you welcome new arrivals? I have a mind to give you a thrashing. All right, enough of that. Look, I was no choir girl. But I had the good sense not to get caught. Word of advice, kid, don't pick your mark in broad daylight, especially not at a lawman's doorstep. Go on, beat it, or I really will give you something to cry about. Now, where in the ether is that damn publisher's office?
Howdy, stranger. Fresh off the train?
Yes, sir.
Come on in then. Let's have a chat. I'm Sheriff Gamble.
Harley Leger.
Pleasure. Just passing through, or?
I'm here about a job.
Well now, that's refreshing. Few come to Rosewater these days with the intent of staying long. How are you finding our town?
I can't say much for the welcoming committee.
Beg pardon?
I wasn't in your town but 2 minutes when I was accosted by a pair of gutter snipes. They should thank their lucky stars I was in a good mood.
Dang it. I keep telling Jim to stop with that town greeter malarkey, but that boy's got a head harder than granite. I've been too soft. I ought to throw him in lockup until he gets his head on straight.
Trust me, that'll only make things worse. Besides, I don't think they've yet written a statute outlawing vexatiousness.
You've a forgiving nature, Miss Leger. Anyhow, welcome to Rosewater. If you run into any more trouble, come and see me.
October 25th, 1850. Dear Miss Leger, thank you for submitting your sample. Your writing shows real potential. I'd like to extend an invitation to meet with me at the offices of the Rosewater Post and discuss the possibility of an extended commission. How soon can you arrive in town? I await your reply and look forward to making your acquaintance. Yours, Joan Gallagher.
Not a bad view. Those are some stern-looking ladies. Doesn't look too comfy, but I guess that's the point. Looks like a pretty rough sort. This fellow still at large?
Yep, but I reckon he's left the province.
Reminder, confiscated items to be placed in the box below. A plain leather bag. Wonder what's inside. What's in the bag?
Oh, that's a set of lockpicks I confiscated from a would-be burglar.
A lawman with a license? Guess Rosewater isn't so uncivilized after all. I wouldn't have figured the sheriff for a naturalist. Impressive collection. Hey, Sheriff?
What can I do you for?
Just how long have you been the sheriff here anyway?
Oh, couple years now. Like most everyone else, I came to Rosewater in '48, when we thought the hills were full of Orem. Except I stayed when it turned out they weren't.
You were a prospector?
Yep, but it turns out lawman was a more stable career.
A man in your position must have plenty to say about the town he serves.
Suppose that's true, but a stroll down Main will tell you most everything you need to know.
Thanks for the chat, Sheriff.
Come back anytime.
What a peculiar decoration. Hey, Sheriff?
Miss Leger?
Why have you got a horseshoe hanging above the door?
Glad you asked. My grandpappy told me a story about a blacksmith who was visited by the devil. The devil asked the smith to make him a horseshoe for his own hoofed feet, you see. So, the blacksmith took a red-hot horseshoe and nailed it straight onto one of his hooves. The devil howled out in pain. He begged the blacksmith to take it off again. The smith agreed, but on one condition. The devil must always respect the horseshoe and never enter any place where one is hung above the door. Hell of a story, wouldn't you say?
Looks sturdy, but there's some rot creeping around the handles. This padlock's not going anywhere, not without encouragement. Soft drink crates, a sugary, fizzy way to beat the heat. Nothing inside but a colony of ants. Shame, I could go for a sarsaparilla. The local sawbones. This is where all the sharp knives and strong drugs will be kept.
Oh, hello there. Don't think I've seen you around before.
Just arrived in town. Name's Harley Leger. And you're Dr. Sedgwick?
At your service. Welcome to Rosewater and to my clinic. Anything in particular ailing you today?
I could use something cool to drink. It's hot as blazes, and I am this close to having a conniption.
You'll want to visit the Jack of Diamonds at the end of the thoroughfare. My stock doesn't offer much in the way of refreshment, I'm afraid.
Wouldn't expect to hear a doctor prescribing a visit to the saloon.
A sarsaparilla or weak beer, drunk in moderation, can be a perfectly healthful and thirst-quenching beverage. I'd recommend it over water in any case.
That's impressively clean.
Cleanliness is next to godliness, as they say, and good health starts with good hygiene.
Quite a variety of potions and tonics you've got here, Doc.
It's only a small part of the bounteous pharmacopoeia that nature might make available to us, if only we knew her secrets. There is so much to be discovered.
Medical College of Wicks? Never heard of it.
It's in central Rotterdam. Not quite the University of New Bretagne, but then what is?
Well, that's just disgusting.
Not disgusting, it's fascinating, awe-inspiring.
To each his own. Hey, Doc, is that mess of noodles really what our insides look like?
Indeed, Miss Leger. The human body truly is a marvel.
I suppose that's one word for it. This is the place. Holy hell! Are you all right, mister? Don't you move. I'll fetch the doctor to have a look at you. Doc, come quick. I've got an emergency.
How can I be of service?
Some poor fool's just fallen out a window.
At the Rosewater post?
Yes. How did you...
Sounds like Joni's in a mood again. Let's go.
Here he is, poor bastard.
Oh, dear. Hello? Can you hear me? I'm Dr. Sedgwick. I'm here to help you. Can you move your legs? Spine seems intact. No obvious fractures of the arms or legs. That, I would say, is nothing short of a miracle. Right. He's in a bad way, but he'll live. I'll get him back to my clinic and patch him up. You are truly a good Samaritan, Miss Leger.
It was nothing. If you'll excuse me, I have an appointment to keep.
Of course. God bless.
Hello, can I help you with something?
I'm here about the writing commission.
Ah, yes, you must be Miss Leger. I believe you and Joni exchanged some correspondence on the matter already, yes?
Yep, got the letter right here.
May I see it, please? Very good. Oh, one more thing. Joni's not one for formalities. First names will do.
Noted.
Go up those stairs and knock.
Thanks. What's your name?
Henry Dixon, ma'am. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Likewise. Cozy. Impressive piece of machinery. They seem to be pretty active around here. I hope that means steady work. That cabinet's better organized than I'll ever be.
Come in.
Hello, Joan. I'm Harley Leger.
Ah, yes. Nice to finally put a face to the name. Please, take a load off. Whiskey?
Bit early for me, but thanks all the same.
Sensible. I like that. I, however, have had a morning, so if you don't mind. Say, have we met before? Something about you seems familiar.
I don't believe so, no.
Well, let's get down to the meat and potatoes, shall we? If you're going to join our little family here, I'd like to know more about you.
Me? Well, I was born and raised in New Bretagne, got out, made my way west, and started writing. I saw your ad while I was up in Pierre. Thought a change of scenery would do me good.
Well, admittedly, Rosewater isn't as cosmopolitan as it used to be, but maybe you'll find it to your liking.
There hasn't been a dull moment since I stepped off the train.
Speaking of, your writing sample had me in stitches. Haven't spent much time in Lamplight City myself, but your descriptions of the toffs in Lyon, hilarious.
That piece was inspired by my last visit a few years ago, actually.
Oh? What brought that about?
I had to go back and settle my late brother's affairs.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope it wasn't in connection with that awful business at the Lamplight City Expo.
Oh, no, it was before that.
The Expo disaster was a national tragedy, of course. But you know, Can't help remembering it as the week our paper sold more copies than it has before or since. Isn't that terrible? But enough about that. Let's get back to why we're here. I loved your sample, and I like you as well, Harley. So I'm going to go ahead and offer you a commission. I'll pay you 45 crowns for it. After that, we can talk about more regular opportunities.
Fantastic. So, what's my assignment? A scathing commentary on Rosewater's decline? Or maybe a hard-hitting expose on the plight of the marginalized criminal youth?
Oh, no. Nothing like that. I want you to interview Gentleman Jake Ackerman.
Who?
Pull the other one. You've been living under a rock. He's a true Western legend. The Achilles of our times. We've got a real opportunity here. A star like that landing in our little town. I'd like something in the vein of your sample. Acerbic and mordant. But maybe not quite so acerbic.
So, a puff piece.
Good, you're paying attention. I want you to make Rosewater look good too. Show me a real frontier hero in a real frontier town.
Where can I find this Jake fellow?
He's taking rooms at the Jack of Diamonds just down the road. And his show is opening today at the Opera House. So he should be around for an interview. I don't know how you're situated here, but you're welcome to use the typewriter in the office.
I only write longhand, but I'd certainly be grateful for a quiet place to work.
Longhand. How charming. Now, if you have any questions before you go, by all means, ask.
So, who is the man that went out your window? Not another writer, I hope.
Oh, God, no. You're the only applicant we've had. Don't worry about him. Just a rabble-rouser with an axe to grind. Thought he could burst in here railing about my journalistic integrity. Most folks stick to writing letters to the editor. I tried to calm him down, but... well, it didn't go that way.
I see. The Rosewater Post reported on the Lamplight City Expo?
It was only the biggest story that year. I've still got copies of the article saved. Here, read it for yourself.
Can I keep this?
Frame it if you like.
Any insight you can give me about the town?
It's a far cry from what it used to be. In a way, it's nice not having to hear the noise from the saloon at all hours, but... oh, I don't know. Folk who moved on took some of the charm with them.
I'm curious, how did the Rosewater Post get its start?
Well, my dad was a union man. He worked the printing press for the Allied Fall Creek Miners Cooperative. Pamphlets, labour news, that sort of thing. Then the mine owners brought the Blackburns in to bust the whole operation up. My dad was laid up for months and could never work again after. But we still had to eat, didn't we? I took all the equipment from the old shop and started printing up an early version of the Post just to bring a little money in. At first, it was all just community notices and advertisements from local stores. Over time, I got the hang of the whole journalism thing and turned it into a real newspaper.
I'd best be on my way.
Right you are. Wait a minute.
What?
It's just come to me. I know why you look familiar. You're Spitfire Harley.
Goodness. It's been a long time since anyone called me that.
I saw you fighting back in 26 at Wellesley Hall in the Chum. You took out a brute twice your size with a right hook. Pow! It was like watching David bring down Goliath.
I appreciate the kind words, but that was another life.
Maybe so, but for a 14-year-old kid fresh off the boat, it was pretty damn inspirational.
Thanks, Joan. Appreciate it.
Of course. And please call me Joni.
Is this the first edition of the Rosewater Post?
Yep, March 30th, 1845. One of the best days of my life.
You support Leroy?
I'm a proud Labourite, sure. I'll admit he hasn't been my favourite PM. But the way things were going with Atwood and the Traitus, this place would have been swallowed up by an automated newspaper conglomerate. Labour Party gets me vote any day of the week.
Fair enough. The new Bretagne Gazette. Keeping tabs on the competition?
Hardly. I kept that issue because they mentioned my paper.
Nice typewriter.
The first. Good old Sheldon Model 4.
Fascinating device.
Isn't it just? To think, I can send messages from here to Bright Bay with the press of a lever.
What will they think of next? See you later, Joni.
Take care of yourself out there. Spitfire Harley, writing for my paper. Now don't that just beat all?
Was your meeting satisfactory, ma'am?
Quite so. Did you find any of those butterscotch sweets I asked for?
Afraid not. Only taffy and some peppermints.
Pity. This place seems to lack even the smallest of pleasures. Shall we?
Shabby, but I've been to worse. These seem to be for decoration more than anything else. Food delivery for the lazy. Warning, watch the dang door. Signed, management. Now that is mighty tempting. The local populace getting sloshed. Excuse me, kid, I need to get upstairs.
I'm really sorry, miss, but Mr. Ackerman's not taking any more meetings right now.
I'm here on behalf of the Rosewater Post.
Did you make an appointment?
No, I just got the assignment.
Okay. Look, Mr. Ackerman's upstairs getting ready for his show. It starts in less than an hour. Why don't you come by and watch? You can come meet him afterwards.
I just need to interview him for a newspaper article.
Well now, that's perfect. If you're going to write about it, you should definitely see the show. Trust me, it's a real dazzler.
Suppose it beats waiting around here. This place is falling apart, but these stone tiles were nice. Once. Betrayal, murder, revenge. Classic stuff. Never works out that way in real life. For 20 coppers, it had better be one hell of a show. You again?
Oh, hey, Harmony, was it?
Harley. What in the ether are you doing here?
Oh, you're not still sore about earlier.
Nah, but your little friend might think twice about hoodwinking strangers again.
Look, nothing personal. My brother and me are just doing our best to get by.
Your brother? And you just strolled away? I ought to knock you into a cocked hat.
Hey, you gotta look out for number one.
You picked the wrong mark, but I can let that go. Hell, with a little effort, you two could be halfway decent grifters. But if there's one thing turns my stomach, it's disloyalty. That's your flesh and blood. If you don't have your own brothers back, who else on this wretched earth is going to give a flip if you're alive or dead?
You made your point. Now can we drop it already? I'm trying to do an actual legitimate job here.
Legitimate job? So you're not selling snake oil or stock tips or fire insurance?
Nah, nothing like that. I'm selling tickets to Gentleman Jake's legendary Wild West show. Only 20 coppers.
I'll take one of those tickets.
Swell! And when would you like to come see the show?
Whenever it starts?
Oh, you mean today? Ah, well, I'm afraid I gotta disappoint you there. Sold the last of today's tickets not 10 minutes before you walked up.
Seriously?
Seriously, this ain't exactly the Coliseum. It only fits so many, and folks around here are real excited to see Gentleman Jake in person.
All right, look. I don't need to see some yahoo firing off his pea shooter. I just want to talk to this Jake fellow.
And I'm sure Gentleman Jake would be happy to meet you if you had a ticket to get in. Course, I might be able to sneak you in quiet-like, but I'd be putting my job on the line, and I can't afford to lose it now. After all, I have my little brother to look after.
Just tell me what you want.
Only a small favor.
Spit it out.
Just help me retrieve something. A small item of great personal value. It's only my pa's pocket watch. Family heirloom, you see.
What happened to it?
It was stolen is what? By that one-eyed scalawag Lola Johnson. Probably stashed it away in the old smithy. She's been squatting in there for weeks now.
Where'd your brother get to? Keeping out of trouble?
Matter of fact, he's trying to make good after that screw-up earlier. Decided he's gonna try and get Pa's watch back all by himself. He's real tore up over losing it.
And you're letting him risk his neck again? He'll be collared in no time. Like as not, you'll never see him again.
Oh, I know. I tried talking sense into him, but he's dead set on it. Wants to prove himself. But he'll be in real hot water if he gets caught, which he probably will. That's why I'm asking you to do it before he goes and does something stupid. I can tell you could pull it off. No problem.
The blacksmith's got a giant padlock on the door.
So?
So I'm not breaking into private property?
I told you the place is abandoned. Lola's squatting in there. Besides, it's not really breaking in if you're retrieving something stolen. Sheriff Gamble won't trouble himself over it, trust me. And if you run into Lola, I'm sure someone like you can handle her.
That kid deserves better than getting strung up for doing your dirty work. Call him off. I'll handle it.
Swell. You know where to find me.
I could easily smash this rotten bit of wood and get the lock off. That did it. Tile's no good anymore, though. That could be a good spot to stash something. Emptier than that fool Jem's head. Absolutely nothing. Well now, what have we here? Got what I came for. Best not to stick around.
What in the ether is going on here?
You must be Lola Johnson.
That's right, Lola Johnson, who lives here.
I thought it had a certain domestic charm. Nice setup you have in here.
I don't know what you're playing at, but my patience is wearing thin.
I'll be going.
You do that.
Fancy. Too bad there doesn't seem to be a pawn shop in town. Here's your watch back.
No fooling. You actually got it?
By a whisker. Lola turned up just as I was leaving.
Did you see you take it?
Don't think so. Anyways, that's my part of the bargain held up. You gonna let me in now?
Sure, go on. Oh, and thanks. I know we've had our tiffs, but I really do appreciate you getting this for me. My dear departed pa can rest easy again knowing his watch is back where it belongs.
That's not your watch at all, is it?
Well, it is now.
Kid, if I were you, I'd make myself scarce. Otherwise, the only way you'll be able to tell the time on that thing is by squatting over a mirror. You get me?
Yes, ma'am.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, are you ready for some thrills? Are you ready for some excitement? Are you ready for some fun? Then without further ado, now present the star of our show, the last man standing at the Bleachbone Gulch Showdown, the only man to defeat bastard Billy Boakes in a duel, the man who discovered a gentleman, then gifted it to an orphanage, Gentleman Jake Ackerman!
Thank you, Charlie, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gentleman Jake's Wild West. We got a heck of a performance for you today, but first, allow me to introduce my brave and loyal assistant, Danny Luo. Now let's get this show on the road. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you rope a steer. Keep it going, Danny. Maybe you'll lasso yourself one someday.
Woo-wee!
The sun beat down upon them as the duelists stood and stared. But Billy Boakes had never fought somebody so prepared. Jake drew his gun, and bang! The bastard crashed down with a thud. The legendary foe lay dead, defeated, in the mud.
And now for a most challenging proposition, perhaps the greatest feat of marksmanship to which a man can set his sights. You see those 5 juggling balls that Charlie keeps whirling aloft in such a dizzying display? Ladies and gentlemen, affix your eyes on that green ball in particular, and do not dare blink. For with but a single bullet, I will pluck it from the very air.
Yeah! Amazing!
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our show. Thank you all so much. You've been a truly magnanimous, magnificent, and majestic audience.
And you can take home a piece of the legend. Come on down to the Jack of Diamonds to get an autograph or a souvenir ferrotype. We'll be there until last call. Stop by and shake hands with Gentleman Jake.
Ladies and gentlemen, good night.
I'm telling you, Jake, I need that money tonight.
You knew the deal going in, Charlie. There's nothing I can do about it.
We'll see about that.
Hope I'm not interrupting, gentlemen.
My friend here was just saying his farewells. Weren't you, Charlie? Please do pardon that unpleasant display. What can I do for you, my dear?
Name's Harley Leger. I'd like to interview you for the Rosewater Post.
Well, shucks, it would be my pleasure, Miss Leger. Shall we go upstairs to my room? Beats standing out here in the dust.
Lead on.
Miss Leger, permit me to introduce my associate, Danny Luo.
We've met, actually. Not formally, I suppose. Nice to properly make your acquaintance, Miss Leger.
Likewise, Mr. Luo.
Please, you can call me Danny. Everybody does.
So what did you think of the show? Pretty spectacular, huh?
Spectacular. It was amazing.
Well, shucks. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Shall we proceed with the interview?
Right. How did you come to pick Rosewater as your latest venue?
Simple. Plenty of folk in this town are looking for a good show. I ain't so hoity-toity as to think El Presidio or Los Virgenes are the only places worth visiting. After spending all day bent double over a pan in a creek or working his keister off down in a mine, a man is entitled to some amusement, wouldn't you say?
What's something nobody knows about you? Give me something juicy.
I'm something of an open book, Miss Leger. Keeping secrets ain't really my modus operandi.
Come on, everyone's got secrets.
Oh, I think you'll find I'm not like most folk.
You're clearly a man of great deeds. Which would you say has been your greatest?
I value all my accomplishments equally, Miss Leger. To single any one out would diminish the others. I couldn't bring myself to do that.
What a noble sentiment.
I like to think so.
Is there anything that frightens the mighty gentleman Jake?
You know, somebody once told me, fear is only as deep as the mind allows. When you deal with the type of folks out on the frontier that I do, marauders, bandits, desperados, your fears have got to be shallow. Otherwise, you won't last 2 seconds.
Hey, Jake, don't you have an appointment with Miss Sally this evening?
Damn, you're right. Sorry to cut things short, Miss Leger. I've got another engagement I need to prepare for.
I should have plenty for my article. I appreciate your time.
Well, I look forward to reading your story in the next edition. Danny, see the lady out, would you?
Good meeting you, Danny. Guess I'll see you around. Not to worry, gents. Jake's all yours. Hey, you were in the show. Nice juggling.
Thank you, ma'am. Jake! Get your ass out here right now, you four-flusher.
Now, what's all the ruckus?
Don't play the fool with me, Ackerman. You know damn well why I'm here. You might think you can give me the runaround, but I wonder if my friends here won't convince you to pay up.
Charlie. Didn't anybody ever tell you only cowards get others to solve their problems for them?
You slum-guzzling bastard. I'm gonna fix that wobbling jaw of yours.
Come on up here, then.
You sure you won't reconsider, Charlie?
Shut the hell up and get out of my way. McGuire, take care of the kid. Let's dance, cowboy. I suggest you clear out while you can, little lady. This could get ugly.
Where I'm standing, it's pretty damn ugly already. Hey!
So that's how you want it, huh? Fine. I'll let the boss deal with you when he's done.
You're in my way, you lummox.
And that's where I'm staying. Hey! Don't start any trouble, lady. We can do this all day. Hey! Don't start any trouble, lady.
Whoopsie daisy.
Hey, nice one.
Not the most honorable way of winning a fight, but these boys were hardly playing fair.
Hey, Charlie. Looks like your guys weren't as tough as you hoped.
Whoo-wee! That got the old blood pumping.
You've got some interesting associates, Mr. Ackerman. If you'll excuse me, I have an article to write.
Hang on just a minute. I'd be a fool to just let you walk away after that performance. Come on back up here. I've got a business proposition that may interest you.
What about Miss Sally?
Oh, she can wait. All right, Miss Leger, I won't beat around the bush. Danny and I are looking to get some folks together for a job, and I think you'd make a damn fine addition to the team.
What sort of job?
Ever hear of Dr. Bennett Clark?
No, I don't think I have.
He was the lead scientist researching that ethericity stuff. Before the ban, that is. Dr. Clark moved out here not long after the big disaster back in Lamplight City. He kept up his research, even did some demonstrations at the Opera House. Till one day, he just up and vanished. Nobody's seen hide nor hair of him in nearly a year.
So is he dead or what?
That's the thing. Nobody knows. But the real question is what he left behind. We're going in search of Dr. Clark's fortune.
Come again?
The feller was loaded. Somehow he managed to talk a bunch of big money investors from back east into financing his research. All those gizmos and doodads don't come cheap, you know? We find his stash, we'll all be rolling in it for years to come.
Stash? What stash? Surely it's all just numbers on a ledger somewhere.
Nope. I'm telling you, he kept his assets in cold, hard cash.
So you're looking to rob a man blind just because nobody knows where he is?
Now, nothing so uncouth as that. Picture this, a swashbuckling pirate captain, his vessel freighted with treasure. The vast fleets of law and order circling him, closing in. He digs a hole in the sands of some sun-kissed tropical beach to conceal his ill-gotten loot and makes himself scarce. Circumstance conspires to deprive him of the opportunity to return. Now, is the brave treasure hunter who seeks and unearths the bounty guilty of robbery? Or is he just returning to the world what would otherwise lie forgotten and worthless? See, we're not after Clark's personal wealth. The money in question was meant to bankroll his etheric research. Since that's been outlawed, he can't touch it. And it's a drop in the ocean for the investors. They'll never miss it.
How many folks are you planning on bringing into this?
That depends on what we find. But I promise you, we'll all get a fair split. Enough to make it all worthwhile.
What's your plan?
Clark had a lab nearby, a couple miles outside of town. Last place anybody saw him. We poke around there, retrace his steps, and it should lead us straight to the loot.
Uh-huh.
Now, call me crazy, but I get the impression you're not entirely convinced.
Truth be told, I'm not. Assuming this fortune even exists, which it probably doesn't, how do I know you won't just leave me for dead and take it all for yourself?
I admit we're asking you to put a lot of faith in us. Hell, I'd probably be just as incredulous were I in your position.
Mr. Ackerman's a good man, Miss Leger. He's never led me astray in all the time I've known him.
I appreciate it, Danny, but I think Miss Leger's gonna need a little more than just your word. Look, I've known quite a few moneyed folk in my time. They all got one thing in common. You know what that is?
They couldn't give a rat's ass about folks like you and me?
I admit I cannot emphatically contradict you there, but not what I meant.
So what do they have in common?
They're good at keeping their money safe. Clark's cash is out there. I just know it. As far as your safety, you just took out a couple of brutes twice our size. It's plain to see you can take care of yourself.
I'm pretty good with my pistols. And Mr. Ackerman can talk his way out of anything. But we could use somebody who's good in a fight.
Besides, stick around old Jake long enough and you'll have enough material to write a whole book. Forget a measly little write-up in the local rag. I'm offering you a front row seat to a much better show. So, what do you say?
All right, Mr. Ackerman. I'm in, but try anything funny, and I walk.
Understood.
You won't regret this, Miss Leger.
We'll set out for the lab at daybreak. And please, call me Jake.